Hello everybody and welcome back to some more Creative Mechanism. Today, we are finally going to be moving on from our old storage system. Yes, Angel, I am sorry, but your job, you're about to lose it. You're about to be fired, my little friend. Oh, I'm so sorry, but it's just business, my old friend. I'll see if you give you pets, though. That is not important. What is important is we need to get a better storage system for a multitude of reasons. But one of the biggest ones is that it should help us with further automations that I am going to want to get into, and it should hopefully not be too painful in the mind, because from what I've been looking into, it's going to be a little bit painful. So what we're first going to need to do to get started, to get our very first component, is we're going to need to make ourselves the casing from the calculation mechanism. So that, just go ahead and take these guys right here, and then we can go ahead and combine that, and then we get ourselves a calculation machine. This baby is going to be used in a few things for this, but the most important thing is the center part of our new system, the ME controller. This, I probably won't need to make any more of, so that's just the easy first step. The rest of this is going to be about getting this dang thing powered. That is where this thing here will come in, called the energy cell. For me to get this, I'm going to need the dielectric casings, which I already have. I'm going to need charged Certus quartz, which I already have elsewhere. And I need some compressed iron. I need a lot of compressed iron, so I have a spare compacting drawer here that I didn't lock, but I stuck in a bunch of iron. That way it would all just compress down, so that way I wouldn't have to, like, keep crafting. Now, the next thing we're going to need from this is going to be these Fluix pearls. Now, for me to get these, it's actually not that difficult. We need these Fluix crystals, but we also need to crush some of them down to get ourselves a Fluix dust. And while we're waiting for that, we're also going to want to go ahead and grab ourselves 8 ender pearls, because we're going to need 8 of these new Fluix pearls. So this should hopefully be done by the time I'm done talking. There we go. So it turns out it takes an entire stack for me to be able to make enough of these guys. So hopefully I won't need to make any more of these energy cells, which I might. So that's going to be a problem, so let's just hope that that doesn't happen. Okay, so last thing we need is going to be these Fluix ME cables. Now, these guys are going to be a reoccurring thing, because this is actually how we transfer several things with this mod. But for me to get them, we're going to need to first get ourselves this quartz fiber, which takes more Certus quartz. Alright, this should hopefully be enough for right now, so now we can go ahead and combine all of this together, and then we get ourselves our quartz fiber. Now, that didn't use up everything, which is good. We don't really want to use everything necessary right now. So, actually, I only need to do this recipe once. So, realistically speaking, I went a little overboard. It's fine. So now we can go ahead and combine these guys together. And now, we got our Fluix cables. So, all that's left to do is just head on over here. And then we now have ourselves our energy cell. Here is the question, because this should work now with everything I have here. We'll just need to use it like so. So if I go ahead and put these here, the energy cell, what this would do is it would take the energy inside of it and transfer it to the ME controller. So if I plop an ender gate onto here, which doesn't appear to want to do, I see that this doesn't work. So if I plop this over to here with these cables, yes, it doesn't work. That means I am going to need the energy acceptor. Okay, second energy cell acquired. Okay, so now that we have this, the next thing that we're going to need is our energy acceptor. Now, this thing obviously is going to take another one of these energy cells. It's also going to take another 4, not 5, of these compressed iron blocks. You can see why I did my little hashtag like hack here. If I had to keep grinding these all together, it just would have been a nightmare. But after that, we actually have a lot of this stuff already. So we just needed 8 more charged Certus quartz. I decided to get that while I was getting more Certus quartz. So, you know, it was very easy. I also needed this quartz glass, which I actually already had some, but it's really not hard to get. Some more of the dielectric casing, which I already had. And all that's left for this is energy pipes. They really don't transfer all that much. So, you know, I'm really not going to be too worried about this. But, there we go. Now we got ourselves our energy acceptor. Which means, now, if I was to go ahead and then connect this one here, and then this one here. I can do this pretty much anywhere. This isn't going to be the final setup. This is just to get a basic idea. If I go ahead and put this here now, okay, it does work. Now we have ourselves our ME system all almost ready and raring to go. This is where this is going to get interesting. Normally, what one would do now is we would go off and make ourselves this ME drive, which has a very big recipe over here. And we would fill this thing with these ME item cells, but we would have storage components in them to be able to make them into storage stuff. And that would be how we would store things. I would like to avoid doing that, as this is a very big recipe for one thing. But also, I kind of want to see if I can do this in a bit more of a cheeky way. We are still, however, going to need to make ourselves our crafting terminal. Now, the first thing we need to make our crafting terminal is going to be this illumination panel. Now, I only really need one of these, but for right now, these two will do. Next up, we're going to need to go ahead and grab ourselves a logic processor. And while we're here, we're actually also going to want our... Actually, wait. Okay, yeah. This one's the logic, this one's the calculation. I was thinking I mixed up the names for a second, but nope, I didn't. Also, did I just address the fact that I managed to finally fill up on these things? Oh my goodness gracious, that is awesome. Alrighty, so now we got those guys all ready and rearing. I believe that should be everything for this. No, right, this is where we get into these. For pretty much everything else in this, I am going to need these guys. A formation core and an annihilation core. All we really should need to do is, well, actually, this one will be a little less straining on my system. We just go ahead and throw that up there, and then the ender pearl in there, and we get our annihilation core. And we throw our fluix pearl in here, and then we get our formation core. So now, we go ahead and combine all of that together, and now we have ourselves an ME terminal. After that, the final thing we need to do, the most epic of all things that we could ever possibly do in any of this, we need to go ahead and then take everything we have learned today and make ourselves a crafting table. And then we get ourselves our crafting terminal. Then after that, we go ahead and make ourselves some more of these fluix glass cables here. And then what I would do is I would connect this guy up to here with the crafting terminal, and now I have access to the system. Isn't that neat? Now, like I'd said before, I could have used a storage thing on here. And if I did do that, then I would be able to access items from with this to get inside of those storage disks. But I have a slightly different plan. I'm also trying to figure out how to change the size of the UI, but it looks like I can't do that. So that's unfortunate. So what is my mysterious alternate plan? Well, it is actually going to be hopefully good. Also, probably not that good because I don't want to actually just break down my item vault here. I still want to try using that for something. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need an ME storage bus. Now, for me to get that, I'm first going to need to make myself an interface, which is actually not bad. Like, wait, hang on a minute. I actually should have everything for that. I mean, I shouldn't have gotten rid of the cable recipe, so that's one thing. But then I'm also just going to need the last 4 of these guys from here, and then I can go over here, and I believe it said I needed 8 of these guys? And then, hold on a minute. I take this over to here, and then, well, not there. But if I take this here, and there we go. We now got ourselves our ME interface. So go ahead and combine these guys together, and there we go. Now we have ourselves our ME storage bus. Now, what this baby will do, I don't know if I can connect it to here, but if I can, that would be legendary. If I go ahead and connect this, can I? Okay, no. Okay, so now it's all over here now. So if we go ahead and stick this guy here, we should be able to see everything in my system. Oh my goodness, that is great. So I don't actually know the limit of an item vault. So that is one unfortunate thing. But when it comes to this now, though, I would no longer need this guy to be able to pull stuff out because here, let me show you what happens. Okay, so let me find something in here that, okay, yeah, conduit binder. See how quick that was? That was very quick. If I had asked for my conduit binder in here, I have to type it out. It's not right there at the beginning. It's, of course, typing's gonna be there for both, but I click send. Look at that. Look at that. Takes forever. We don't need that. We don't need that anymore. Now, we have ourselves our full access power right here. This could actually get even better. So if I was to take another one of these and hook it up to my storage controllers, I would then also be able to access everything from in here, adding to another point of which I won't need these guys. And in fact, since I won't need these guys at all, I could probably just move that one over here and just add another one of these guys. So it wouldn't be too expensive. But the best part above all of this is not only can we connect our drawers or other storage systems to this, we can connect our EMC table. Now, we can't use it from the transmutation table, but what we can use is the transmutation interface. Now, this one's not terribly expensive, at least for where I am now, but it does use a bit of EMC in terms of the pink matter, as each one of these guys is 4.54 million. Now, the matters, the reason why I haven't gone over these guys before is that it's the same thing with just all of the dark matters and stuff. We've all gone through that progression before, but it just sort of keeps going up, and I just keep making the rest of those, so that's all fine. Now we have ourselves our transmutation interface. So if I was to go ahead, pick this baby up, and move that to this one. Now, when we connect this baby here, we will instead see all of the things I can make with my EMC. And it looks like it actually shows me how many I can make with my current level of EMC. That is interesting. So if I go out and type matter, wow. That is... wait, why is it not by the number? That's the way I like it. I like having the way of number in descending order. So there we go. So now we can see just how much of each of them. I can only make 11 violet matter. So now that we've gotten the base storage system out of the way, though, one might wonder, what about the auto crafting that I had brought up before? Well, it can happen, but it is a little bit expensive. And from what I've been observing, for me to make the crafting things that I want for this, we're gonna need more energy cells. But also, we're gonna need to get ourselves, like, this skystone block, which looks like just normal skystone isn't enough. We need to smelt it down. And then all the rest of the stuff that we'd already gathered before, just to make this crafting unit, which isn't even actually a part of the system. It's a crafting ingredient for the things I need in the system. I would need a crafting coprocessor and a 1 to 64K of a multitude of kinds of crafting storages for me to be able to get that going. And it's still more stuff. Will I actually not be able to get auto crafting? Possibly. But from what I've observed, it looks like it's just going to be a sort of repeat of all the things that we've already hashed. And I mean, technically, this one's already sort of just been a lot of crafting anyways. So I don't think I'll get the auto crafting in the video, but I will definitely try to do it off screen. Maybe? Laziness pending. But jokes aside, I might do it, I might not do it. It looks like those things should be fine. So what I want to do now is, I'm going to go ahead and get myself the rest of these storage buses. And I'm going to hook this up here and this one up here. And then I'm going to decommission everything else in this old storage system. And I will show you all the full glory.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And here we go. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. An angel over there just sitting still right next to it. You know what? Even if you're not the one I go to open the storage system, you're still going to be the guardian of all of my goods. Even though I don't really need one, you're still there for me. So now we have it all hooked up and into place. So we still have all the EMC stuff up here at the top because that's where most of the stuff is. But then when we go a little bit lower, we can find all the stuff that was from my storage drawers. And if we go even lower, we can find everything else that was inside of everywhere else. So now I can go ahead, retire all of my old chain conveyors and all my old stock stuff. We no longer have any need for those. I have no idea how much space this thing actually has inside of this storage vault. So we're gonna have to hope that it can hold all of this. So let's go ahead and just break this baby down. And I can still reach it from here, so let's just start loading her up. And just hope that there's enough space. If we haven't run through everything. I thought I ran through everything. I did not. Okay. Throw it all there. Throw it all there. Yes. Look at that. That is good. Okay. So now we don't have any unnecessary chest space anymore, because all that was all the stuff that I needed in the immediate moment, or just stuff that I was just too lazy to put away. But now it's all in one convenient little package. And Angel, for your weeks of hard work, here's a pork chop. So do you like this video? Good. Be sure to check out our last Create a Mechanism video where we got into some industrial foregoing to get ourselves plastic. Bye-bye!